How Kanye got more money than Jay-Z?
Y'all ready to leave? They not ready to leave.
I'm getting courted by the bosses, the Eggers and Doug Morses, Jimmy Eyes and Lee Orses. Gotta be more than the courses. They respecting my mind now, just a matter of time now. Operation take over corporate, make over offices, then take over all of it. Please may these words be recorded to serve as testimony that I saw it all before it came to fruition, sort of a premonition.
I'm ahead of my time, sometimes years out. So the powers that be won't let me get my ideas out, and that make me wanna get my advance out and move to Oklahoma and just live in my aunt's house. Yeah.
By now, we all have heard Kanye West is now the richest black man in American history. Well, not quite. He's sitting at a cool $1.8 billion. This final number came after a Bloomberg report misquoted the original evaluation at $6.6 billion. The initial Bloomberg report stated the values of the Gap and Adidas Yeezy brands could be valued between $3.2 and $4.7 billion, which they added to his $1.7 billion in cash, assets, and investments. But the elephant in the room, the unspoken story of this situation was Kanye West eclipsing Jay-Z in net worth. Jay-Z, who sits at a mere $1.4 billion, oh, such a broke boy. We all assumed he was maybe a little bothered by this headline. At first glance, this story could look like the tortoise and the hare, but it's not. A marathon, not a sprint type of story. Slow and steady wins the race type of thing. But it's not. One day the student will outshine the master type thing. But it's not. Some might say it's a creative mind versus a business mind. But it's not. These men are both creatives and both great businessmen. This story is actually very deep and it has many layers. It is a case study that sits at the very foundation of business. This business relationship is a battle of supreme idea versus supreme strategy, big visions versus laser vision. First off, if you think Jay-Z has everything he owns on paper or in his name, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Bills that I do for, I now invest on trying to find some loopholes in the IRS.
In all honesty, Jay probably still has more money than Kanye. We should probably have titled this video How Kanye Caught Up to Jay-Z. If you have a business or about to start a business, you're gonna wanna watch this video. Both these men's philosophies are the roots of how to manifest and build any business successfully. If you can blend both of their concepts, you will undoubtedly be on the right track. Now, the beauty of this case is that this is a real business relationship. These two would not be where they are without one another, and their net worths are directly tied to each other. Kanye's production and solo career took Jay-Z's business ventures to new heights, which gave Kanye the platform to get out his dreams. Rarely do we analyze something like this in our lifetimes. It's almost like Halley's Comet. Usually it takes 40 to 70 years to build businesses like these. Battles like Edison versus Westinghouse, Warren Buffett versus Bill Gates, Amazon versus Google. We get about 3 to 6 of these battles in a lifetime that we can witness and analyze for ourselves. And the results of these battles determine so many things that affect our everyday lives. So let's take a look at this chart. Time of investment. This graph shows the growth of Kanye and Jay-Z's wealth over time. As you can see, Jay-Z's climb to $1.4 billion is pretty steady with multiple spikes. It moves in blocks. Kanye's is a large bell with almost a vertical spike that still hasn't quite stopped climbing. This graph is a great representation of the supreme idea versus supreme strategy. Jay-Z's moves in business are highly strategic. The exit strategy is developed as soon as the idea is made.
Business, we were releasing hundreds of albums every year, and you know, the percentages was like really low, like 56 albums and 4 artists work, or you know, something like that. So I wanted to bring, you know, the entire culture into it. I wanted a fund so I could do other things aside from signing artists, like, you know, buy a television station or buy a club that, you know, we can develop these artists in, or buy some headphones, just all these different things I wanted to do. And
he has only a 3 to 5 year window of molding a business. He takes a product, adds allure, times it by 10 in profit, then dips out. And he always makes sure he doesn't leave it with the owner that won't totally destroy the brand's image to the public. Wash, rinse, repeat. Efficient and quiet, never causes a ruckus. Quiet, meticulous.
I'ma open up a store for aspiring MCs. Won't sell them no dream, but the inspiration is free. But if I ever flip side like Anakin, you will sell everything, including the mannequin.
Kanye represents the supreme idea. Ye has always been fly, but Kanye was low-key broke, living a hood-rich lifestyle. I quote, I went to Jacob with 25,000 before I had a house, and I would do it again.
Better adhere to this text where you go. Broke, spending more than you accrued on silly baguettes. I know silly baguettes, silly.
Now, Kanye buying buku jewels and low before he had a house may sound crazy. But in business, this could also be looked at as promotion and what we call a loss for profit technique. Loss for profit is when you give out a free product, service, or discount that actually costs you money. But you believe in your product so strongly, you know in the long run, it will make up for it. When you have a supreme idea that can change the fabric of society, it doesn't matter how long it takes or how much money you spend to get to that goal, because you know once this idea hits, it will make it impossible for the rest of society to ignore. Kanye would buy insane amounts of clothes, which was basically his market research.
You ain't got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money trying to empower yourself.
Yes, but I spent hundreds of thousands and putting out clothing lines at a smaller degree. All I'm asking you,
it ain't no Ralph though.
I lost money, but that's not
exactly. And I could lose money on a higher level too.
Don't think just because
I got the most or the least money.
Let me finish my question, dog.
Man, man.
Let me hear the question.
You don't have
man.
the answers.
I'm asking you for the answer. It's a question. Why is it that you can't? You have money.
I just told you I lost the money because I did not have the knowledge of how to do it the right way.
Finding out what palettes to use, how to form clothes to the body, how you want people to look in your clothes, at the same time promoting to the consumer how his brand would be in the future. We all have wanted at least one thing Kanye has worn. Kanye styled the planet for free for a decade. This is the reason why the Yeezy Adidas brand did so well.
First of all, let's get rid of them Louis Vuitton boots and get your tall ass out that C-Class coupe, man. Trips to Maui, out of town, I was outie. Rock so much polo, they start to call me Ralphie. Do me a favor, if your dollar's up, please pop your collars up, otherwise it look lousy.
Business relations. Well, it goes without saying, Jay-Z is a master statesman. He knows how to move in a room full of vultures. He truly is a charismatic figure. From the NFL to Live Nation to LVMH, there is no boardroom this man can't walk into. He knows how to handle himself at all times. You know he won't say much, but he'll say just enough. He's not looking to impress by speech, but he will by example. Jay-Z will show you before he tells you. This is why he can do business with everybody, because he can be trusted to give you exactly what he told you he would give you. Straight by the book, all T's crossed, I's dotted.
On the street, because you talk about being 13 and selling crack. Did that teach you something of how to be a successful businessman, or how we all are
all
common?
All the things that you apply in business, they say that he has great instincts, but on the streets, having great instincts can be the difference between life and death, not just losing the deal.
Or incarceration.
Or incarceration, which is less than death, right? And which is, and being a person of high integrity, people want to deal with you, in business, in the
trust.
Street, trust and honorable, and, a man of your word, all these things come to play in business world.
This is not Kanye's approach. Some might say he's crazy, but in actuality, he uses shock and awe as a business model. It's brash and abrasive, but it's also divisive and polarizing. In marketing, these are the tactics that develop a cult-like fan base, which Kanye absolutely has. Kanye can be quiet for 1 to 2 years, and when he's ready to pop out, he will propose something or do something so controversial, it forces the market to make a decision.
I'm standing up and I'm telling you, I am Warhol. I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google, Now who's gonna be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more?
You have to agree or disagree. There is no in between. This in turn moves the needle on both sides. You're either a Kanye fanatic and will spend your money with him, or it forces you to show your support for the other side. Either way, both sides win, and it's usually a 50-50 split. Quality standard versus standard of quality. What do Jay and Ye both have? Taste. Exquisite taste, like what the fuck? But Jay does not showcase his taste in his business. He makes sure his businesses match industry quality or industry standard, no more, no less. Was Rocawear much different from Mecca? No. Was Ace of Spades much different from Moet? No. Now Moet owns Ace of Spades. Jay's real art is taking something that was thought not to be compatible with industry standard, fit the industry standard. If you told someone in 1980 a rapper would be selling his champagne brand to LVMH, they would laugh at you. He doesn't reinvent the wheel, he rebrands the wheel. This is a standard of quality approach. Now, Kanye doesn't reinvent the wheel either, because you can't. Believe me, if he could, he would.
And how does working at Yeezy compare to, Reebok or the time you spent at New Balance?
You know what? The thing I love about Kanye is the rules are gone. Everything you've ever done has just been smashed to pieces, and we think about it completely different.
What he does do is make different wheels. Kanye West changes the quality standard. Kanye subconsciously or unconsciously is a great interpreter of time and will initiate attack at the perfect moment to spark change. This determines what the new bar will be, and that bar could be lower or higher than the previous. He can raise the bar in music, but then lower the bar in packaging music. He can make high designer fashion cool in the hood or rip $1,000 sweaters high fashion. What Kanye dictates can make something the new norm. Debt. Debt is a huge part of business, and it's not a bad or a good thing. It's just a necessary tool. It could be good or bad. At some point, any multi-billion-dollar company is going to have to leverage some form of debt. To establish credit, you have to have debt. It all comes down to the risk you're willing to take on yourself in the casino of business. There is another part to our graph from the first section. It's not approximate because we can't really see it, but we know it's there. Debt. From the outside looking in, Jay moves by the principle of OPM, or other people's money, which is still debt. Money isn't free. Jay always makes sure he has some type of ownership or equity in his venture, whether that's by throwing down or by demand. In turn, he is made a leader or given a bag by the partners because they know he will flip a bag accordingly.
You saw firsthand what you thought was wrong with the music business. You wanted out, and you're willing to put money to get yourself out.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily want out. I wanted to work with them, but I wanted like a fund in a sense.
You were president of the company.
Yeah, I was the president of Def Jam Records, and I wanted a fund to, I wanted to work there. But I wanted the fund
what struck you is they'd take all these artists, almost like throwing them against the wall, so you see which ones would stick. You thought that was a huge waste of money.
You are associated with a number of brands, HP, Coca-Cola, Budweiser. How do you decide who you want your name, your brand, your voice tied to, and what companies you don't?
I try to. Sometimes it's just more about relationships. I pretty much try to work with brands if there's some sort of partnership there. I don't typically do a one-off endorsement deals. I've just never been interested in that. It's just more so if I can create some sort of partnership.
It shows what type of street Jay was. He can turn a 14 into a 31. Never f***s up the pack. Brings the plug back exact, never short. No running off or dodging calls. He is not a stranger to consignment, which is strictly for live men, not for freshmen. People entrust Jay with the outcome of their companies and the future of those companies' families. These are high-pressure situations. This is not for the weak-hearted. This is bottom line, results, minimum risk, guaranteed returns. Who knows? Jay-Z might have gotten a mortgage loan on some summer home he never visits to fund a Memphis Bleak tour. We'll never know. But from the outside looking in, Jay-Z moves pretty light on the debt side. a lean business diet. Now, people definitely trust Kanye to beat Kanye, which is not bad. Being predictable is not a bad thing in business. Even though you don't know what Kanye is gonna do exactly, you know you will be able to make money off of whatever he's gonna do. Over the last 5 years, major companies are finally putting trust in Kanye's ideas, which for so long he had to literally scream at people to listen to.
Few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
To get to this point, Kanye took on a massive amount of debt to finance his supreme ideas. Kanye was willing to risk it all in the casino of business.
Taylor Swift tops the Forbes list of the highest paid celebrities with $185 million. And coming in at a strong number 3 is someone she's not a big fan of, Kanye West.
Yeah, so Kanye is back on track.
He is.
After publicly admitting he was millions of dollars in debt, but now he's way in the black. He made $150 million this year based on his Yeezy brand alone.
Yeah, and Kim Kardashian took to Instagram to praise her husband, saying, "It's of no surprise to anyone who works with or is close to Kanye that he has been able to turn millions of dollars in debt into a billion-dollar empire in only 4 years, 100% on his own terms, while owning 100% of his business. He inspires me every single day, and I'm so happy that he's finally getting the recognition and credit that he deserves."
Kanye was willing to risk it all in the casino of business, literally to the point of sinking. Ideas so unbreakable and meaningful, he would go broke before giving up on them. Even though this was very tough on Ye physically and mentally, the amount of money that Kanye invested wasn't much different than what P&G, Google, or any Fortune 500 company would spend on developing new products. One man and his team took on that weight. Now, Kanye is erratic. I can see how a company would hesitate putting him on the board of directors. There's a level of accountability you have to provide to other board members on a daily basis. I'm sure this is a point of concern. These days, you can change stock price with a tweet. An announcement of Kanye being added to a board would dramatically affect the stock price of the company, most likely in a negative way.
I just can't be managed.
We got cricket bats in Romania to worry about over here, buddy, and not just designing them bitches like the other 90% of what goes into selling the product. Adidas and Gap have to worry about that stuff. Kanye's attitude is fugazi sometimes, but his ideas, on the other hand, fully redeemable, and he deserves a blank check from whoever and whatever company he aligns himself with. The conclusion: who really got more money, bro? I don't think that's the question we ask ourselves here. The real question is, what kind of money is better for you, your life, and your family? What do you want as a man, as an entrepreneur? You can make precise moves and build your castle like Legos, or you can balloon and fly high while at the same time filling up your sandbags. You can invest up and flip great products, or you can focus on a game-changing concept. Both have their pros and cons. When you cross a certain point economically, the amount of money you have isn't really an issue. It's now about what your money is connected to and how it moves through the economy. Is your money and legacy built for generational transition? Jay has recently made a deal with Jack Dorsey, putting him on the board of Square Inc., a literal financial institution. Square owns Cash App and collects payments for merchants all across the world. Hov's money is set and ready for the long haul. How does Jay-Z always end up being Joe Budden's boss?
Shout out to the app that sponsors us, enables us, empowers us, tolerates us, greatest app in the world, Cash App. Shout out to you guys.
Blue Ivy could quit right now, sit on the beach all day, her kids are set, so on and so on. Kanye is sitting on a treasure trove and has great investments running for himself. Between his cultural influence, his impact on history, North, Saint, Chicago, Psalm will be just fine, and their West Empire will continue for generations, especially if Kanye makes his rumored move to architecture and real estate. I would love to see a Kanye hotel chain. That would be amazing. Yo, it's John, reading for BPN, How Kanye Earned More Money Than Jay-Z, written by Black Businessman.